EB Smalley here with my third installment of my series, Top 10 Quarterbacks in the 2020 NFL Draft. Today I want to talk about Jake Fromm. He's 6'2", 220, out of the College of Georgia. And a lot of people probably are still waiting for Tua and are very surprised that I have Jake Fromm as my number 3 quarterback, because a lot of people are really low on him. In fact, he's not even in some people's top 5 quarterbacks in this NFL draft. So I'm a little strange here. There's not a lot of guys who are high on him. As far as I know, the only other guy who has him in the top 5, I'm not even sure where he has him exactly, but I think he might even have him in his top 3 or 4, is Chris Sims. He's really high on Jake Fromm as well. Jake Fromm has some incredible qualities that I really appreciate about him. His understanding of his playbook, his football IQ is top notch. It is literally up there with Joe Burrow. All of his teammates, everybody you talk to, his coaches, everyone is just has nothing but great things to say about his football knowledge and his work ethic. Watching him play, the first thing that came to my mind is good decision maker. He's a bit of a game manager, but I think that is kind of looked at in a bad way. But if you have a good game manager who's not going to turn the ball over, he's not going to make risky plays, and you put him in a play-action offense with a good running game and a good defense, you're going to win championships. I mean, look at the 49ers right now. That's what they're doing, and the Vikings, they're contending every year. They have a very similar strategy. They went to the playoffs with Case Keenum, for goodness sake. Like, if they had somebody like Jake Fromm, who is a much better decision maker, a much better thrower of the football, they could make a serious run over the next few years. He has a really good job of consistently making the correct read of a defense, which again shows his high football IQ. Something that I appreciate the absolute most about Jake Fromm is his leadership. And although this is not the most important quality of a quarterback, Jake Fromm is head and shoulders above any other quarterback prospect that I've ever done research on in this department. He is not just a good person. I think it's interesting if you watch this Netflix series QB1. It follows some of the top quarterback recruits every year from high school in their junior year, I think it is. And I think it's its first season. It follows Jake Fromm, and he's different. You watch the show, and the other guys who are on that season only make Jake Fromm look so much better. The contrast between them and him it's crazy. It's literally so different. His maturity level, he's not a typical high school jock. Even as one of the top quarterbacks in the nation in high school, he was humble. And you can't expect much more out of a high schooler. He acted like a professional, and just his competitiveness, just it oozed out of him. His leadership, people were drawn to him. Usually in high school, people are immature, arrogant, especially when they have, such amazing skills. It tends to make them a little bit, you know, kind of a jerk, to be honest. But, he's not like that. He um, was humble, truly humble, as a high schooler. And, he was a junior. That was like, what, like 5 years ago? I don't know exactly. But it really separates him from the rest of this class. Joe Burrow's similar. So many good reviews about who he is as a leader and how he prepares so hard. Um, but it's interesting, when you look at Jake Fromm's college story. Um, Jacob Eason's there already, and Jake Fromm comes in. He's a freshman, and Jacob Eason gets injured, and Jake Fromm takes over, and he does amazing. He does such a good job leading the football team. And Jacob Eason was one of the most highly recruited QBs of all time. I think he was the number one recruit that year coming out of high school. And Jacob Eason's arm talent is like next level. It's insane what that guy can do with a football. But, Jake Fromm, just being Jake Fromm, not anything special for an arm. And, he just physically is not the athlete that Jacob Eason is. But he beat him out for a job. Then Justin Fields, another amazing quarterback, has to transfer because he can't beat out Jake Fromm for the job. He must have had some expectation that he was going to be the starter over Jake Fromm. But he got beat. Jake Fromm, even though, again, he's a less talented thrower of the football, he's just not on the same level athletically. He's not even on the same field athletically as Justin Fields. That guy's a freak. But it goes to show that Jake Fromm has something special, something different than your average quarterback. And, the coach at Georgia saw that and stuck with him. And probably part of that was that it was forced upon him in a way, because probably all the players, if Jake Fromm is really that good of a leader and everybody's so drawn to him, they wouldn't want anybody else being the quarterback. They would be upset, because they love him. But it really goes to show what kind of a person Jake Fromm is. The type of person that you want to be the face of the franchise, the leader of your team. And that's something that's important. But something else I appreciate about him is his mechanics are pretty good. He could use his base a little bit more. He tries to muscle it in a little bit too much. But he has pretty good awareness in the pocket as far as defenders coming in. He steps in when he makes throws. He's a tough guy. He's 6'2", 220. He's got a big frame, which causes him to be able to take hits pretty well. He's a warrior for sure. Excuse me. His weaknesses, and everybody says this about Jake Fromm. So his arm strength is a weakness, and I think it's blown out of proportion a little bit, just because he doesn't have the strongest arm. Doesn't mean that he can't be successful in the NFL. I don't think that it's going to be as much of a problem as a lot of people think it will be. But depending on the offense that you run, I think that he could be very efficient. It's not like an accuracy problem. His arm strength is is fine. In fact, his accuracy is really good on short and medium distance throws. His deep accuracy can be a little off, and it really depends. That's where his legs need to be put into his throws more, because he tries to muscle it in, and unfortunately that causes some of his deep throws to kind of lack the juice, the lasting power to get there. So if he just works on his mechanics just a little bit, I think that his arm strength is not going to really be as much of a problem as a lot of people think it will be. His athleticism is something that a lot of people also worry about. He ran a 5.01, I think it was, at the combine. Just that happened like yesterday or the day before, as of this video being recorded. But that's a little slow for a quarterback these days, but I don't think it's a problem. I think he's mobile enough where he can move around in the pocket. Even people like Tom Brady, he's not a mobile quarterback, and by far he's not fast. Just being aware of rushers, which Jake Fromm I believe is, and being able to slide in the pocket can buy you some extra time. And honestly, the type of offense Jake Fromm should be in, he shouldn't be sitting in the pocket for 3 to 5 seconds. He's not going to be like Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, just sitting back there waiting and moving around, just keeping the play alive. Russell Wilson, he's not that kind of passer, and he should not be in an offense that's like that. So I don't think his speed or mobility is going to be an issue. Jake Fromm, I think, is the most maybe not the most, definitely not the most. Joe Burrow is much more pro-ready than him, but he's a very pro-ready quarterback. I think that his work ethic, football IQ, and maturity and desire to win will help him to make a jump to the NFL. I think as an NFL comparison, Drew Brees, he almost is. It's weird. He almost is like identical to Drew Brees in his strengths and weaknesses. So I think that he could have a very successful career like Drew Brees and be able to be a contender on a good NFL team. I think his NFL fits are the Saints. They literally just plug him in and he would be like the new Drew Brees, and I feel like it would almost be seamless. The Patriots, they have a very quick-paced offense, lots of available checkdowns, screens, slants, ins and outs, out routes, really quick routes that help you to get the ball out quick, and as long as you read the defense well and make adjustments, then you're just dinking and dunking up the field. The Vikings, I think, in a very heavy play action offense like the Vikings or the Titans, would be excellent for him with a strong running game. Both of those teams have a very strong running game. Kirk Cousins is either in his last year of his contract or it's up. I don't know. I think it's his last year. And the Titans, nothing has been decided about Ryan Tannehill as of yet, but I think he'd fit in really good with that offense, and that he would be able to run it really well, and with that it's not really a young defense, but that growing defense with an awesome defensive-minded coach and a great running game would be able to excel. So that's my analysis of Jake Fromm. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you like the video. and subscribe. Thank you.